Interstellar misunderstanding. The twin sons of Azuria cast a golden glow across the crystal shores where Queen Talia performed her morning ritual. Her iridescent blue skin glistened as she gathered the sacred sea blossoms, her long silver-streaked hair flowing in the gentle breeze. As ruler of the Azurian people, these quiet moments alone were rare treasures. The peace shattered as a blazing object tore through the amber sky, trailing smoke and fire. Talia shielded her eyes, watching the unknown craft plummet toward the shallow waters of the luminous bay. The impact sent massive waves crashing against the shoreline and scattered the native avians into the air. "By the 7 moons," Talia whispered, abandoning her basket of flowers. Her ceremonial robes billowed around her slender form as she raced toward the crash site, her 4-fingered hands clutching the royal scepter that never left her side. The vessel was unlike anything she'd seen before, sleek and angular with markings she didn't recognize. Steam hissed from the hull where the warm waters met superheated metal. Through a jagged tear in the side, Talia glimpsed movement. Without hesitation, she waded into the bay, her natural bioluminescence activating in response to her surging emotions. Approaching the wreckage, she peered inside and found a being slumped over a panel of blinking lights. It appeared male, with tanned skin and dark hair, definitely not Azurian. A human, she realized, recalling ancient texts describing visitors from distant stars. They were rare in this galaxy sector, especially since the uneasy peace treaty between their worlds 30 cycles ago. The human stirred, groaning. Blood trickled from a gash on his forehead, and his breathing came in labored gasps. Using her considerable strength, a trait all Azaians possess despite their delicate appearance, Talia pulled him from the wreckage. On the shore, she laid him gently on the sand and assessed his injuries. His flight suit was torn in several places, revealing unfamiliar anatomy. The head wound seemed superficial, but his right leg bent at an unnatural angle. Most concerning was a strange swelling she noticed in his lower body region, beneath the damaged suit. "Internal bleeding," she murmured, reaching for the royal healing pouch at her waist. As queen and high healer, treating injuries was her sacred duty. Talia applied a cooling salve to his forehead wound, then turned her attention to the concerning bulge. Among Azaians, all injuries required immediate treatment, regardless of location. Privacy was secondary to saving a life. She gently touched the swollen area, applying the regenerative gel that had saved countless Azurian lives. To her alarm, the swelling seemed to increase under her ministrations. Suddenly, the human's eyes flew open, a startling shade of green that reminded Talia of the rare emerald pools in the northern mountains. He yelped and scrambled backward, his face flushing a deep red. "What are you doing?" he demanded, his voice deep and panicked. Talia jerked her hands away, her own face flushing a deeper blue with embarrassment. "I was treating your injuries," she explained. That swelling seemed serious. The human's expression shifted from alarm to mortification. "That's not," he began, wincing as he tried to sit up. "That's just normal male human anatomy under certain circumstances." Understanding dawned on Talia, followed by intense embarrassment. "Oh. I didn't realize. We don't. I mean, Azurian males don't." She trailed off, unsure how to finish the sentence without making the situation more awkward. An uncomfortable silence fell between them, broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the shore and distant calls of returning seabirds. The human cleared his throat. "I'm Dominic Reeves, captain of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon," he said, extending his hand before realizing she might not know the gesture. "Talia," she replied, cautiously taking his 5-fingered hand in her 4-fingered one. "Queen Talia of the Azurian Collective." Dominic's eyes widened. "Queen? I just crash-landed in front of royalty. That's either incredibly lucky or terribly unfortunate." A small smile played at Talia's lips. "I haven't decided yet." She noticed him wince as he shifted position. "Your leg is broken. I should take you to our healing chambers." Dominic's face darkened. "My ship was attacked. Crixian raiders. I escaped their main vessel, but they damaged my engines. I barely made it to your atmosphere before losing control." "Crixians. In our system." Alarm flashed across Talia's face. The warlike Crixians had been expanding their territory aggressively, but never had they ventured this close to Azuria. "They're after what I'm transporting," Dominic explained, his hand moving protectively to a secure container attached to his belt. "What could be so valuable?" Information. Star charts mapping an uncharted passage through the Vermilion Nebula. If they get it, they'll have a direct route to both Earth and Azuria, bypassing all our defensive outposts. Talia's luminescent markings pulsed with concern. Then we must move quickly. Can you stand? With her help, Dominic managed to get to his feet, wincing as he put weight on his injured leg. Their bodies pressed close as she supported him, and Talia became acutely aware of the strange warmth radiating from his skin, so much warmer than any Azurian. I apologize again for the misunderstanding, she said as they began moving toward the hidden path that led to her city. Dominic's serious expression cracked, and a chuckle escaped him. Well, it's certainly the most unique first contact I've ever experienced. Their eyes met, and something passed between them, a spark of mutual curiosity, perhaps even attraction, despite the absurdity of their first encounter and the differences in their biology. Your world is beautiful, Dominic remarked as they made their way through a grove of luminescent trees, their branches swaying in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Those trees, are they moving on their own? Everything on Azuria is connected, Talia explained. Our plants respond to emotional energy. They're curious about you. As if to confirm her words, a low-hanging branch gently brushed against Dominic's cheek before retreating. He laughed in wonder, the sound making Talia's dual hearts beat faster. Earth has nothing like this, he said. Though we've been trying to rebuild our natural connections for generations after nearly destroying them. Your people learned from their mistakes. We had to. The Great Collapse 3 centuries ago taught us humility. Now we're explorers, not conquerors. The path widened as they approached the hidden entrance to Talia's capital city, Lumina. Massive crystalline structures rose from the natural rock formations, catching the light from the setting suns and fracturing it into thousands of rainbow patterns. Dominic halted, awestruck. It's magnificent. Talia watched his face, finding his wonder more captivating than the familiar sight of her home. His amazement made her see Lumina through new eyes. Before they could enter the city, a patrol of royal guards appeared, led by Jason, Talia's most trusted commander. His expression shifted from relief at finding his queen to suspicion upon seeing Dominic. My queen, we've been searching for you since the object fell from the sky. Jason's hand moved to the energy weapon at his hip. This creature is our guest, Talia interrupted firmly. Captain Dominic Reeves of Earth. His ship was attacked by Crixians who have entered our system. Murmurs of alarm spread through the guards. Jason's face hardened. The High Council must be informed immediately. First, Captain Reeves needs medical attention, Talia commanded. And we must secure the information he carries. Jason bowed, though his eyes remained suspicious. As you wish, my queen. As they entered the city, Dominic leaned closer to Talia. Your commander doesn't seem thrilled about my presence. Relations between our worlds have been complex, she admitted. Many Azaians remain wary of humans since the Proxima incident. Dominic winced. That was 30 years ago. Most humans today weren't even born when it happened. Memory runs deep among my people, Talia said softly. We live for centuries. The elders on our council remember the human mining vessels that scarred the moons of Proxima before we established contact. They approached the central healing chamber, a dome of living crystal that pulsed with gentle light. Healers in flowing robes moved gracefully between treatment pods, their hands glowing with therapeutic energy. Your technology. Dominic breathed. It's like nothing in the Earth databases. Not technology, Talia corrected. Biology. Everything on Azuria evolves in symbiosis. As they entered, all activity ceased. The healers stared at Dominic with expressions ranging from curiosity to open hostility. This is Captain Dominic Reeves of Earth, Talia announced, her voice carrying the unmistakable tone of royal authority. He is under my protection and requires healing. Reluctantly, the healers prepared a treatment pod, adapting it for human physiology. As they helped Dominic into the pod, his hand caught Talia's. Thank you, he said simply, his green eyes intense. For saving my life. Something fluttered in Talia's chest, a sensation she hadn't experienced in decades of rule. Rest now, she replied, gently withdrawing her hand. There will be time for more thanks when you're healed. As the healing pod closed around Dominic, Talia turned to face Jason, who waited by the entrance, his expression grave. The High Council demands your presence, my queen. They've detected a Crixian warship entering our system. Talia cast one last glance at Dominic's peaceful form in the healing pod. Inform the council I'll join them shortly. And double the guard here. The human and what he carries are now Azuria's most valuable assets. As she left the healing chamber, Talia couldn't deny the strange pull she felt toward the injured human captain. Something about him awakened feelings long dormant beneath her royal duties, feelings both exciting and dangerous for the queen of a world on the brink of war. Little did she know that in his healing sleep, Dominic dreamed of iridescent blue skin and silver-streaked hair, a connection forming that transcended their biological differences and would soon challenge everything both their worlds believed about each other. Forbidden connection. Dominic awoke to the gentle hum of the healing pod as it opened, revealing the crystalline ceiling of Lumina's medical chamber. His body felt remarkably restored, the pain in his leg completely gone, the gash on his forehead healed without a trace. Only the memory of his embarrassing first encounter with Queen Talia remained sharp in his mind. As he sat up, he noticed an Azurian healer watching him from across the room, her expression unreadable behind the translucent veil covering the lower half of her face. The Queen requests your presence in the council chamber once you are ready, she informed him, her melodic voice carrying an undercurrent of suspicion. These garments should accommodate your human form. She gestured to a set of clothing neatly folded beside the pod, flowing fabrics in deep blues and silvers that matched the Azurian aesthetic while allowing for his broader shoulders and different proportions. Thank you, Dominic said, offering a smile that wasn't returned. How long was I unconscious? One full rotation of our world, she replied. The Queen has not left the council in that time. The Crixian vessel orbits our outer moon, just beyond our defensive perimeter. Dominic's hand instinctively went to his waist, panic flaring when he realized his secure container was missing. Your possessions are secure with the royal guard, the healer added, noting his alarm. The Queen permitted no one but herself to examine them. Relieved but still anxious, Dominic changed into the Azurian clothing once the healer departed. The fabric felt impossibly light against his skin, almost as if it were alive, which, given what he'd learned about Azurian biology, wasn't impossible. A stern-faced guard escorted him through the winding corridors of the palace. Dominic marveled at the architecture, structures that seemed to grow from the very rock, pulsing with subtle light and changing colors as they passed. Azurian citizens stopped to stare, some with open curiosity, others with evident distrust. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater carved into what appeared to be a massive geode. 7 elder Azians sat on crystalline thrones surrounding a central platform where Talia stood, her royal attire more elaborate than what she'd worn at the beach. A holographic display of the Azurian system hovered above them, with a red marker indicating the position of the Crixian warship. Dominic's breath caught at the sight of Talia. Under the chamber's illumination, her blue skin seemed to shimmer with internal light, and the silver strands in her hair caught the reflections from the crystal walls. Their eyes met across the chamber, and for a moment, all else faded away. Captain Reeves, she greeted him formally, though he detected a warmth in her voice that contradicted her regal bearing. Please join us. As Dominic stepped onto the platform beside her, whispers rippled through the council. This is most irregular, my queen, said one elder, his skin a deeper blue than Talia's, marked with the patterns of great age. To bring an outsider into the sacred council. Exceptional circumstances require exceptional measures, Elder Voros, Talia responded coolly. Captain Reeves possesses vital information about the Crixian threat. A threat that followed him to our world, another council member accused, her luminescent markings pulsing with agitation. The Crixians would have come eventually, Dominic interjected, earning scowls from several elders. They've been systematically expanding through this sector for years. My star chart simply accelerated their timeline. And why should we trust the word of a human? Elder Voros demanded. Your kind has a history of deception where resources are concerned. Talia's markings flashed, a subtle sign of irritation that Dominic had already learned to recognize. Captain Reeves risked his life to keep this information from enemy hands, she said. I have examined the star charts myself. They reveal a passage through the Vermilion Nebula that would indeed give the Crixians direct access to both Earth and Azuria. Then we should destroy this information, suggested a younger council member. Without it, the Crixians will be forced to retreat. No, Dominic and Talia said simultaneously, then exchanged surprised glances. The information exists in multiple forms, Dominic explained. What I carry is merely one copy. Destroying it won't deter the Crixians, it will only leave both our worlds vulnerable to surprise attack when they eventually navigate the passage. Captain Reeves is correct, Talia added. Our best strategy is to use this information to strengthen our defenses and potentially establish a joint Earth-Azuria monitoring station at the nebula's exit point. Cooperation with humans. Elder Voros scoffed. Have you forgotten the Proxima incident, my queen? Talia's expression hardened. I forget nothing, Elder. But I also recognize that 30 cycles is sufficient time for growth and change. The humans of today are not the humans of Proxima. Her defense of his people sent an unexpected warmth through Dominic. Few would stand against their own counsel on behalf of an outsider. Before the debate could continue, the chamber's alert system activated. The holographic display zoomed in on the Crixian warship, which had begun moving toward Azuria. They've penetrated our outer defense grid, announced Commander Jason, entering the chamber urgently. And they've deployed landing craft. Estimated time to surface breach, 1 hour. The council erupted in chaos. This council is adjourned, Talia declared, her voice cutting through the commotion. Activate planetary defenses and evacuate coastal settlements. Commander, prepare our warriors. As the council members hastily departed, Talia turned to Dominic. You should return to the healing chamber. You'll be safer there. With respect, Your Majesty, safety isn't my priority, Dominic replied. I'm trained for combat and familiar with Crixian tactics. Let me help. Talia studied him, indecision clear in her luminescent eyes. The council would view your participation as further evidence of human interference. And what do you think? Dominic asked, stepping closer than propriety likely allowed. I think. Talia began, then hesitated. I think you are unlike any human I expected to meet. Something electric passed between them, a tension that had nothing to do with the approaching threat and everything to do with the inexplicable connection they'd formed in less than 2 days. Come, she finally decided. We'll retrieve your star charts and bring them to the command center. If we survive this attack, perhaps they'll become the foundation of a new understanding between our worlds. They moved through the palace, now buzzing with emergency preparations. Royal guards flanked them, clearly uncomfortable with Dominic's proximity to their queen but unwilling to challenge her direct orders. In her private chambers, a breathtaking space where living crystal formed natural shelves holding ancient texts and artifacts, Talia retrieved Dominic's secure container from a hidden compartment. I didn't open it, she assured him, handing it over. Though I was tempted. Dominic smiled. I appreciate your restraint. He activated the biometric lock, revealing a small data crystal glowing with stored information. This contains more than just star charts. It also includes detailed scans of Crixian ship vulnerabilities my team gathered during previous encounters. Talia's eyes widened. That information could be crucial to our defense. Exactly why I couldn't let them have it, Dominic said. And why I need to be part of your defense effort. These scans reveal a specific weakness in their primary shield generators. Hit them there, and even your most basic weapons could penetrate their hulls. A distant explosion rocked the palace, sending fine crystal dust raining from the ceiling. They're early, Talia said grimly, rushing to the window. In the distance, fiery streaks marked the descent of Crixian landing craft through the amber sky. They must have launched a secondary attack force before we detected their main ship. Classic Crixian strategy, Dominic confirmed. They always send an advance team to eliminate defensive capabilities before the main assault. Talia's communication device chimed. My queen, came Jason's urgent voice, Crixian forces have breached the eastern perimeter. They're heading directly for the palace. They seem to know exactly what they're looking for. Me, Dominic realized. Or rather, this. He held up the data crystal. They must have tracked my ship's emergency beacon. Talia's markings pulsed rapidly, the Azurian equivalent of adrenaline spiking. We need to move. The command center has a quantum vault that can block any tracking signal. As they rushed from her chambers, the palace shook again with a much closer impact. The corridor ahead collapsed in a shower of crystal and stone, blocking their path. This way, Talia said, pulling Dominic down a secondary passage. There's another route through the ancient tunnels. The passage narrowed, forcing them close together as they descended into older parts of the palace. The bioluminescent lighting grew dimmer, replaced by a natural glow from the walls themselves. These tunnels predate our modern structures, Talia explained as they hurried deeper. They connect to a network that spans the entire region. My ancestors used them during the time of hiding, when the first ships came to our world. Human ships? Dominic asked, surprised. No. Something far older. The ancient ones. They harvested worlds and moved on. My people survived by hiding underground for generations. The revelation of this unknown history momentarily distracted Dominic from their peril. Earth has similar legends. We called them the precursors. Their eyes met in the dim light, another connection forming between their worlds. A nearby explosion snapped them back to reality. The tunnel trembled, and loose crystals rained down. They're getting closer, Dominic warned. How much further? Almost there, Talia assured him, but her voice betrayed uncertainty. The tunnel suddenly opened into a vast underground cavern, illuminated by massive bioluminescent fungi that cast everything in a surreal blue glow. Crystal formations created natural bridges across underground pools that glowed with the same light. It was breathtakingly beautiful, and a dead end. This isn't right, Talia said, confusion evident in her voice. The passage to the command center should be here. Dominic scanned the cavern, tactical training kicking in. Recent cave-in, he suggested, pointing to a pile of freshly broken crystals. Possibly. But that means we're trapped, he finished grimly. The sound of pursuit echoed from the tunnel behind them. Crixian voices, harsh and guttural, grew louder. There's nowhere to go, Talia said, her markings dimming with despair. Dominic assessed their options rapidly. Those pools, how deep are they? Very. They connect to the underground ocean. Why? A desperate plan formed in Dominic's mind. Can your people breathe underwater? For short periods, yes, Talia confirmed. Our gill membranes can extract oxygen from water, but only for about 20 minutes. That might be enough. Dominic handed her the data crystal. You should go. Swim to safety. I'll hold them off as long as I can. Talia stared at him in shock. That's suicide. Better one life lost than two worlds fallen, he said with a grim smile. Besides, my suit has emergency oxygen. I might make it. No, Talia said firmly, taking his hand. Her touch sent that now familiar current through him. My people have a saying, divided paths lead to mutual destruction. We go together or not at all. The determination in her eyes stole Dominic's breath more effectively than any Crixian weapon could. Without thinking, he pulled her close and pressed his lips to hers. For a moment, she stiffened in surprise, then melted against him, her luminescence flaring brightly enough to illuminate the entire cavern. The kiss deepened, transcending their biological differences, igniting something primal and impossible between them. When they finally parted, both were breathing heavily. Talia's markings pulsed in a pattern Dominic hadn't seen before. That was. She whispered. A human tradition, he explained softly. Before facing impossible odds. A smile curved her lips. I like your traditions, Captain. The moment shattered as Crixian soldiers burst into the cavern, their reptilian forms silhouetted against the tunnel entrance, weapons raised. In perfect synchronization, Dominic and Talia dove toward the glowing pool, their hands still clasped tightly together. The water enveloped them in luminescent blue as Crixian energy blasts sizzled the surface above. Deeper they swam, guided by Talia's natural knowledge of her world and Dominic's desperate determination. The current strengthened, pulling them through underwater passages that twisted and turned beneath the Azurian capital. Dominic's lungs began to burn. Talia, noticing his distress, pulled him into a small air pocket within the tunnel system. They gasped for breath in the confined space, their faces inches apart. We're beneath the command center, Talia whispered. There's an emergency access point just ahead. Lead the way, Dominic replied, his voice husky from more than just oxygen deprivation. Their eyes held for a moment longer, both aware that something fundamental had changed between them, something that would challenge both their world's perceptions and perhaps change the course of the coming conflict. As they prepared to dive again, Talia touched Dominic's cheek gently. When this is over, we should discuss this human tradition of yours more thoroughly. Despite their dire circumstances, Dominic couldn't help but smile. I'd like that very much, Your Majesty. Together they plunged back into the glowing waters, heading toward an uncertain battle but with a new certainty between them, a connection that defied biology, culture, and history. A connection that might just save two worlds from destruction.